My dear peasants, if you want to hone your drawing skills to max level, then I have just the right exercise for you. Figure drawing. For there's no other activity on earth that'll better equip your ass to slay your artistic enemies to the face. Now guys, I would like to apologize to you in advance. I tried to find a different model, but there was nothing I could do to stop him. This video is the first of my 3-part figure drawing series. Here I will show you how to start a figure drawing the right way with a simple blocking while simultaneously growing your cranial walnut to an unspeakable level. I've included in the description below some reference photos you may use for personal use to practice with. And to prove my superiority, I will be adding to my reference photo database as well. I've also simultaneously released the raw footage of me flawlessly and effortlessly executing the block-in of this drawing just in case you want the full experience of what it takes to accomplish such a feat. When setting up a model, it is important to try various poses, for different body types look better in different positions. It is also important to walk around the model and observe the best angle to draw from. Not everyone has access to a model, but fortunately for you, you have me, giving you me in pose form. So for the time being, you don't need to worry about finding a model. After easily and expertly setting up a pose, I will now explain to you the glorious stages of blocking in the drawing, stages you are about to witness firsthand. There are 3 things to look at when drawing a human: the proportions, the body type, and the gesture. Due to being a part of the human species, each person will have similar proportions, but they will still differ from human to human. An example of this would be how some people will have longer legs while others have longer torsos. Perhaps someone else might have a larger head. The body type refers to how the body is shaped. Some people are more toned while others are less so. It is the artist's job to make a conscious effort to observe this before drawing the human. The gesture has to do with the actual pose the human occupies. Their body type and proportions will directly affect what type of pose they sink into naturally and which poses, by extension, they look good in. You'll find that different people look better in different poses. Here's the drawing process broken down into 3 stages. We will be covering the first and most basic stage in this most glorious video. To give you a broad overview of the development process for stage 1, here's how the entire drawing looks sped up. I will break down my genius thought process once this is finished and after you have more of an idea of the direction we are going. Note how basic I keep the drawing. This comes in handy when you have a live model that moves and you can sketch them in fast because you aren't drawing all the detail. It is human instinct to detail from the start because it gives us the feeling that we are completing the drawing faster. This is a false sense of security because when we detail early, we don't always consider the larger proportions and we end up having to spend more time in the end correcting the drawing, and all that time spent detailing is wasted. If you are a beginner, I recommend taking at least 30 seconds to an hour to sketch the figure out in this basic shape and then keep it at this stage without detailing for a solid 2 hours at least. During this time, try to correct the figure while keeping it very basic. This is one of the best ways to improve yourself in being able to see and draw proportions accurately, and you will also come closer to approaching my level of greatness. I am drawing the figure only using an HB pencil from start to finish, and I'm drawing it the same size I see it in the reference photo, which I have taped to the left of my drawing. This is called the sight size method, which I will explain further in another video. My dear peasants, if you wish to make the best decision of your life, then subscribe your ass to this channel. My gigantic and muscular brain prompts me to start by establishing the bottom and top points of the body. Once I have done this, I block in the feet first because they are planted and will not move. This makes them solid points to measure off of. Blocking in means laying down an initial sketch in a simple and basic manner. Squinting while you observe will help block out unnecessary information, thereby making it easier to simplify. So I start by blocking in the foot on the left and proceed to flawlessly measure the distance and angle from that foot to the heel of the foot on our right. After I have both feet blocked in, I make it a habit to mark the crotchal region and then quickly sketch the legs in before they have a chance to move. Though I am drawing from a photograph here, I am narrating this as if it was a drawing done from real life because that is the best source to draw from and you need to know how to flow with the shifting positions. But Loeth, why should we draw with straight lines instead of curvy ones, you might ask? Because it forces our brains to look for the exact angle of whatever it is we are drawing, including where the line starts and stops. In this manner, we can construct clear lines and points that we can use to more easily compare with other lines and points. Drawing with curved lines doesn't force us to really study the subtle curves. Instead, it is more like we're just guessing where the lines shift directions. Therefore, drawing with straight lines is much better for training our brain how to see and understand angles. My friends, I understand drawing with straight lines is a hard concept, and yes, there are artists who don't use straight lines, but you must understand that I am a highly advanced being and naturally better than all of these artists combined without even trying. It is my birthright. So do not despair, for I have constructed a most juicy yet pungent morsel of artistic knowledge for you to suckle upon in the form of this YouTube channel. So be at peace. I will care for you. Getting back to the drawing, I encourage you to take advantage of the negative space, which are the shapes surrounding the figure. For example, the shape including the distance and the angle between each knee. Seeing this as a shape and measuring this angle and distance is how I establish the relationship between them. I then work my way up to the hips using straight lines and only focusing on angles, lengths, and basic widths. Once I have the bottom half of this genius human sketched in, I explode up to the top and establish where the pit of the neck is. This is the point where both clavicles meet, and it is an important anatomical point to look at because if the figure rotates, it stays relatively the same, but if the figure sways, it changes the relationship in comparison to the hips and the ankles. This makes it a great reference point to compare the ankles to in order to determine if the figure is changing positions or not, but more importantly, it will help you to establish the proper pose and prevent you from drawing a figure that is falling over like all the buttholes do. Adding the belly button and lightly sketching in the center line of the body will also help you to understand the bodily rotation of the pose and can further assist you in establishing the right proportions. At this point, drop down to the torso and continue to block the body in with basic lines, knowing that you can correct the proportions and fix the gesture after you have blocked in the entire figure. Once you place the pit of the neck at its proper height and position, quickly sketch in the angle and length of the shoulders and establish the width of the neck. From there, mark roughly where the armpits are and even the nipples. Then take a moment and double and triple check these new points to each other. Though I didn't do it in this drawing, it is also a good habit to block the head in with as few lines as possible at this stage. Doing this will train your mind not to get piecemeal with the human, and it will force you to keep looking at the entire body, which is key. I make it a habit to constantly measure and remeasure the inside anatomical points, namely the belly button, the nipples, the pit of the neck, the armpits, and the crotchal region to make sure they all relate to each other. It is a good practice to constantly check your points, especially when you have a live model that shifts over time. When drawing the arms, it is important to block them in quickly because they oftentimes move more than other body parts. Just focus on the points that represent the joints and connect them with straight lines. We can feel the musculature in later, but for now, only worry about the width of the joints and the angles they fall from one another. For the hands, don't worry about drawing the fingers like a moron. I'm a genius. Just squint down and get the big basic angles. Getting the large shape correct will enable you to hatch out the fingers when you decide to push the detail further later on. As I said, normally I would draw the head in quickly with the shoulders, and the reason is that it would more quickly establish the impression of the figure and give us something to compare to that would help us see the shoulders better. Just squint down and draw with as few lines as possible the overall head shape. Then proceed to draw in the hairline with the understanding that it could shift dramatically as the human moves, especially if it's long hair. I mark the nose, the mouth, and block in the eye sockets. Leave the actual eyes for later, though it's okay to draw a line indicating their angle. Just don't be an idiot and draw in tiny details. Also, if the ears are visible, you can block them in with 2 or 3 lines, paying careful attention to mark the top and bottom of the ears and get them in the right relationship with the eyes and the nose. Elf ears are obviously longer, so take that into account as well. This method is great because it teaches you how to simplify complexity, which is very difficult at first. Trust me when I tell you that you will receive great benefit in your work by persevering in this technique. It will enable you to see and draw larger shapes more accurately, and it will teach you how to correct those shapes to the point where you can break them down into more detailed and accurate shapes. In this blocking stage, I just want you to focus on the length and widths. Don't worry if your drawing doesn't have the curves or the details that the human currently possesses. These things will come later once you have established the necessary framework. I will go over this thoroughly in the next video. Guys, now as of this video, I'm live streaming here in my studio every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm doing it for all of you who wish to know how to draw and paint in the academic style, so feel free to stop in and join. You're an idiot. Look, if you want to become superior in art, I highly recommend figure drawing. For before you can paint, you must be able to draw. And don't listen to all the morons who might tell you otherwise. I know it can be hard, but rejoice. For I have heard your plea for help, and my boundless wisdom and compassion have prompted me to respond mercifully. This mercy will envelop you in the form of masterfully crafted YouTube videos and live streams, where I will infuse you with my limitless artistic knowledge and dominance. So until next time, I am Guidetti. Master painter, tactical genius, superior being. My dear peasants, if you wish to work with me directly and learn from my most brilliant mind, you're in luck. For I will be hosting my first ever figure drawing class via Zoom this coming October 4th through the 8th, and a second class November 1st through the 5th, 2021. Walk with me. Individual critiques will be provided along with an explosion of juicy and succulent drawing knowledge obtained in the burning white hot flames of the Florence Academy model room. I will have the registration page up shortly, so keep an eye out for the link I will put in the description below. There you will find all the necessary information about this most glorious and life-changing opportunity. Due to my overwhelming popularity, spaces are limited, so do not procrastinate. Guidetti, out.